Have you ever pondered whether we are inherently good, striving to avoid being bad, or fundamentally bad, struggling to become good? I believe this question has crossed your mind at some point. I would argue that our goal is to be the best human beings we can be by effectively managing our feral, animalistic impulses to the best of our ability. If we were to intricately dissect the root cause of all our misdemeanors and misbehaviors, they consistently originate from our occasional underestimation, inability, and ignorance of our primal, animalistic instincts. These instincts have accompanied us since our inception and persisted throughout our evolution as human beings. All the bad choices and decisions we've made stem from being overwhelmed by our innate primal instincts, whether slightly or significantly. For example, our brains have evolved to analyze and interpret our emotions, yet we still get overwhelmed by the dazzling potency and sudden ferocity of our emotions from time to time. This causes us to make decisions based on instinctual reactions rather than calculated or controlled responses. The same dynamic applies when we are overwhelmed with lust, greed, jealousy, resentment, hatred, fear, violence, and so on. Many of us try to deny that we are fundamentally different or separate from animals who make decisions and react purely on instinct for survival. We may like to believe that we are innocent and civilized by design, but the truth is, we are a more sophisticated version of them, still very much vulnerable to our primitive and undomesticated tendencies. The unhinged form of our primal survival instincts, which we share with animals, is most of the time not optimal or required for the objective functioning of civilization. However, this doesn't mean they have no influence over us, because upon closer inspection, we realize they always do. From this perspective, we can understand why we occasionally do things that aren't objectively focused or socially accustomed. The main problem, particularly in this heavily manipulated digital age that emphasizes perfectionism and idealism to delusionally fantastical heights, is that making mistakes or showcasing flaws is considered existentially unwanted. Society tends to react with a sensitively intolerable level of disgust and disregard towards those who make mistakes, even minor ones, almost to the point of considering them a strange and different species existing alongside them. There is an astronomical level of unrealistic expectations towards other people, and only when we become fully aware of our own flaws and mistakes, which identically represent those behaviors we despise, do we desperately try to justify our bad behaviors. We all make mistakes. That's what makes us human. We grow and evolve through making mistakes and finding possible solutions to correct, manage, or mitigate their effects so that we become better equipped with more capabilities, experience, and wisdom. Making mistakes is not an indication of permanent incompetence or unwanted existence. It simply showcases that you are a part of this game called life, mate. Our lives consist of making mistakes, some we encounter once, and others we encounter multiple times. Some mistakes are redeemable, and some are not. Some mistakes are acceptable and tolerable for some people, and others are not. If anybody tells you that we should not make mistakes or that we should never make mistakes, then that person is an absolute jerk, akin to someone desperately insisting that AI models are real. We all exist to make mistakes and continuously learn from their consequences, navigating ourselves around them, plain and simple. If you make absolutely no mistakes in your life, then that is when I'll start to consider that you might be either an extraterrestrial being delivered by the highest or just an extremely boring person to be with. Never be discouraged by making mistakes. It simply showcases that you're evolving and no worse than anyone else in this world. However, you're certainly way better off than those who dreadfully avoid making mistakes by doing nothing and then judge people that make mistakes, just like a little thank you for watching.